just finished part 1 of the video. Please stay tuned. Part 2 is about to start now. So, when the fall started on our side of the year, it started small, it started subtle. At first, we told ourselves, okay, this is normal. This is what every business owner and entrepreneur goes through. And of course, we still have some monies in the bank, so we can obviously afford to still sustain ourselves. But as soon as people start seeing this over here, shareholders starts getting a little antsy, stakeholders start getting a little uneasy, and then some of them said, okay, look, Lester, unfortunately, I need to pull. And of course, you want to stick to your word and you give people some of their monies back, and as people refund and as that line falls even more, it becomes a snowball effect. And eventually all of this losses and all of those things compound. At this point of the year, you're not in a good headspace, so you tend to focus more on the urgent than the important. And the urgent means that you need to sort me out now. The important means that you need to do this, but it doesn't have to be right now. So we only focused on this until this became urgent. So the important became urgent, and that means that we had to sort that out then. And the next thing that came in line in the importance line, we also neglected because we are constantly putting out fires. And what tends to happen is if you neglect the strategy and only focus on operations, things tend to only fall far, far, far. When you get below this profit line over there, there's different regions and different zones, and this differs from person to person. And in my experience, when you breach that profit line over there and you start going into the depression zone, at first, again, because you're an optimist, it doesn't feel that bad because you think, okay, you can get over it. At least I have a good story to tell when I get back to the top again. Everybody loves a near-death experience. Everybody loves exaggerating the fact that we almost lost everything. And you have a certain window between this point and that point over there for that curve to come in. Now the curve means that, okay, things are back on the move and back on the way up again. If, however, that curve does not come, and what causes that curve will be a completely different podcast episode. But if that curve does not come, you experience what is called the free fall. Now this is the dangerous part. The free fall is when you can't stop yourself from falling. Now you're going into a hole. You realize that it's not a forest. And now you need to assess everything that is around you. You are on the X at this point. At this point, you're getting legal letters. At this point, the voice of your problems is shouting louder than the voice of logic. At this point, smear campaigns are being launched against you. At this point over there, everything is not working the way you anticipated it to work out. At this point over here, everybody was throwing money at you. At this point of the year, you're kind of radiating this poverty stench when nobody wants to touch you. You start hearing these rumors like, what a shame, this guy was top of his class, he had a degree, he has honors, he has this, he has that. What a fall from grace. But I don't think that is as bad as the things that happen when your mind starts playing tricks on you. Because that is when you're in a really dark place. Again, if you're in that place over there, I highly recommend that you speak to someone that can help you, because if you only leave it to your own devices, your mind will take you to places that you might not be able to come back from. Fortunately, we went through a season where we had to see someone that is a specialist in this place over here. Unfortunately, through all the turbulent times that we've been through, whether it be losses, whether it be seeing the court martial or the clerk of the court coming and carrying some of our furniture out, those are all experiences that some of us go through as business owners. And in some cases, you start asking yourself when you're at this point of the year, why is this happening? I've done everything right. I put all these things in place to safeguard me from falling here, yet I'm still here. I ask myself, I never smoked, I never drank, I didn't, I wasn't irresponsible, nothing against the people that were smoking or drinking or anything like that. But, in these dark times, you start wrestling with God and you're asking, how did I get here? I came first in doing that. I did this. I did everything. I worked harder than everybody else. I gave money. I started a charity organization. Why am I being punished like this? I see people that didn't achieve half the things that I've achieved in terms of getting me to this point, yet they're prospering right now. And I think at that point, you need to learn that lesson that God is not moved by your tears and your complaints. He's moved by your faith, and faith without works. In other words, faith without action is dead. I have, as of this video, I have 3 kids, all under 8 years old. And if my 3-year-old comes to me and she says, Daddy, I want this, and I want this now, and I know that that is not good for her, if she had too much chocolate and she wants one more. And I'm saying no. And she starts crying and she starts kicking and screaming. I know better. If she cries, if she performs, it doesn't have as much of an emotional impact on me. And maybe that's just me. A mother's slightly different though. But I know better. I know that if she gets another chocolate, she's going to have a tummy ache. I know that, something worse might happen. She might get sick because I know better. She doesn't understand what I understand. So I need to come to a point where I don't necessarily understand what is happening over here now, but I'm going to trust. And I think that is what led me to the final point, which is right here at the bottom, right? And when you were in the hole, at your very lowest, you needed to ask yourself, what now? What do I do now? And the one thing I've learned how to do, I've learned what to do. The sheriff of the court is coming in and they're carrying our furniture out. Let it go. Okay? If someone is saying things that you know is not necessarily true about you, let them be. If certain things are happening and you feel, okay, you know what, I don't deserve this, but you understand that you are only one piece in a much bigger puzzle that is being constructed. Certain things needed to happen so that something else could manifest as a result. Now, without me being too spiritual, because this is not necessarily a spiritual channel, it's a business channel, but it talks about my journey and my journey through mental health and struggling with that. Now, understand that I don't have any mental health diagnosis. But when you're going through certain things and when you are being stretched beyond what you feel you are capable of, you're kind of coloring into the gray areas now with regard to mental wellness and all those sorts of things. So when you're at the lowest point over here, in some cases, you just need to surrender. Now, I'm going to say something even weirder. I've learned a few things during the struggle, and I'm going to share some of the tips that could potentially help you as well. And one of the things I found that is when God says something to you, and I know I'm bringing religion into it again, but again, this forms part of my journey, and it might form part of your journey as well. When He says something to you that makes absolutely no sense, but you have a certain peace about it, then do it. Even if someone else is saying, but you can't afford to do that right now, it means that you do it. I've heard something that once goes, the foolishness of man is God's wisdom. And in this season, we've put together this beautiful business development program that can help so many small businesses that are up and coming. And we've done this in the earlier phases of our business journey, which got us to that point over there. And now God is telling me, give it to them for free. I'm saying, I'm in the hole here by a few million. I can't afford to just give things away for free. I don't have a plan B and a plan C. I need to pay people back. I need to do this. I need to do that. And yeah, I'm getting this voice and I'm getting this calling and it's saying to me, let it go, give it for free. I need to be obedient to that voice, even though I might not understand what is going on. So if you are a small business owner, or if you are thinking of starting a business, I want you to send us an email. It's getStarted@businessfundamentals.academy.co.za. It's at the bottom of the screen. What we're also doing is I'm writing a book called Millionaire to Mutt, right? Mutt as in M-U-T-T. That is also going to be a free copy. As soon as that is completed later this year, you will get a free copy of that as well. So send us an email saying M2M book and send us to getStarted@businessfundamentals.academy.co.za, and we will gladly bless you with that for free. So I'm going to go through a few tips that has helped me get through this season, and it could potentially help you as well. And again, if you're getting value from this video, if you're getting value from this content, please like, subscribe, and share it to someone that is going through something difficult, someone that is going through a bit of a challenge, someone that does not know what the future looks like, but they just need to know that they're not in this journey alone. In fact, there are so many people that are struggling with this, and it's not something, it's not like a drug addiction or gambling addiction that manifests immediately. This is usually a shameful, quiet struggle that people tend to take on their own, and they don't seek help and they don't speak to people, and that is why the numbers of anxiety and depression and suicides has gone up in recent years. So again, I encourage you to please speak to someone. Eventually we want to get to a point where we have a helpline for business people only that are struggling, that are suffering, that can't necessarily speak to someone else, because if you are a first generation entrepreneur like me and like most of you, you don't necessarily have someone in the family that you can speak to. You don't have a friend because As a business owner, you will already classify it as the weird one in your friendship group. Maybe you need new friends, but at the same time, you also need to be realistic in terms of how people might perceive you. And they might say, you know what, you wanted to play with the big dogs, and now you want to cry with the puppies. And you're going to get those sneering remarks, but you're also going to get some people that will genuinely understand where you are and where you are going. The first thing I want to say is, when you make decisions in business, because remember, you are faced with thousands of decisions on a daily basis. Try not to make decisions from a point of desperation, fear, or shame. Because as soon as you make decisions from those emotional positions, 9 out of 10 times they are not good decisions. That is the first one. The second one is, as soon as adversity comes, face it immediately. Don't kick the can down the road. Because I found that as soon as you face it immediately, right, and you are open and you are honest and you're transparent with the person, whether it's your stakeholders, whether it's your customers, they will actually say, okay, you know what, I'm not happy about it, but at least you came to me immediately, let's sit down, let's sort it out now. I found that if you kick it down the road and you say, okay, let me see what I can do to fix it first, and then if you can't fix it and go to the client afterwards, it ends up being far worse of an issue than it would have been if you just tried to sort it out and bring it to their attention immediately. But if you bring them together and you become the 0.01% of the world, that is when you achieve your brilliance. That is when you unlock your potential. When you need to make big decisions, especially if it's higher than a certain figure, and that might differ from business to business. If you're a smaller business and it's a decision that affects at least 6 figures of the company, then consult at least 2 or 3 people outside of the business to ensure that you have a second set of eyes, a third set of eyes, even a fourth set of eyes. If you have access to legal eyes, if you have access to financial eyes, if you have access to whatever other eyes, try to capitalize on that so you can make the best possible decisions. I'm not talking about what you must put on in the morning. You don't need someone's consultation for that. But when it comes to bigger decisions, if it affects the company at the 6-figure level or at the 7-figure level or at the 8-figure level, definitely get some second sets and third sets of eyes in there. Don't take investment money from people that are looking to make a quick buck. In my journey and in the desperation phase, we took some monies from people that they saw the potential, they saw where we are going, they saw how they could assist us on that journey also. But as soon as things started falling apart, where's my money? I put this amount of money in there, I want my money back and I want it back now. Very difficult for an entrepreneur to thrive under those conditions. The next one is, don't put guarantees in place. Even if it is something you are good at, even if it is something that you've done in the past over and over and over and over. Remember, success compounds, but so does failure. Now, when you're going on your trajectory spiral down, and the things that worked on the way up might not work on the way down, even if it is the exact same business in the same strategy and similar marketing conditions. When you're in this point of view, you tend to radiate a certain poverty stench that just chases stakeholders away. At this point of a year, you're kind of beaming this level of confidence that just gets people subconsciously thinking, I need to get involved with that guy. He's doing something. And that's not about the cars, it's not about the properties, it's not about the business portfolios, but there's an energy, there's this vibe that you're giving off that is just attracting people. And there's a saying that goes, your vibe attracts your tribe. So even though you're doing the same functional strategies at this point as you were at that point over there, it might not work out for you. And lastly, you are here right now, based on a combination of decisions that you've made, based on a combination of traps that you've fallen for, based on God's plan for your life. You are here right now. A lot of us, we might not have the upbringing that a lot of other people had. So if this is you cannot do anything about the past. What happened, happened. You can only focus on what you need to now do going forward. And to a large extent, what you almost need to do is you need to take stock of where you are and have an outer body experience by kind of just stepping out of your situation, your reality, looking at yourself, looking at where you are, looking at your income, looking at your circumstances and asking, okay, I'm here now. What do I do now? How do I create that curve so that I can start growing again? Because remember, you can't sit and wait for an opportunity to fall in your lap. You can't sit and wait for breakthrough to just come out of nowhere, right? You still have to put the work in. There's a saying that goes that you want God to help you, but He cannot steer a parked car. You need to create movement. You need to move. Even if you're doing the wrong things at first, but as long as there's movement that is taking place, you can always reroute. You can always turn a moving car around as opposed to a car that is stagnant. So you need to look at your situation, you need to look at your circumstances and ask yourself, how do I turn this thing around? How do I get from where I am now to where I want to be? There are people that are out there that can assist you. There are people that are there that can help you get from where you are to where you want to be, help you with goal setting, putting those visions in place. When it comes to mental health, if you're suffering from depression and anxiety, there are services that are out there. There are professionals that are out there. If you belong to a certain religious group, I'm sure that some of those leaders are there to assist and enable you as well. So if you've gotten value, if you've gotten even some entertainment from this video, then please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, share it to someone that is going through a bit of a difficult time that can learn from our mistakes. Or if you see the writing on the wall and you feel that someone is making a mistake, or you feel that they're on this upward trajectory, but they're not putting the necessary things in place to prevent a fall, then maybe share this video with them. Again, we are available, we are extremely accessible if you're really going through a difficult time and you need somebody to talk to. And understand that I do have limited capacity. I might not be able to help you, but I'm prepared to listen, I'm prepared to have a conversation and see where it might go. I've been in radio before. The radio I was on, they had a helpline, and I've seen how just by speaking to someone that is going through a bit of a difficult time can actually help turn things around for them. So again, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Until then, goodbye and God bless.